All right, we're live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we've got a critical video update to talk about the incoming Ethereum supply crisis and what you need to know about this, whether you hold Ethereum now or you don't. All right, we're gonna look at that. We're looking at other news that's happened since our live stream on Friday. Check the crypto markets, all that kind of stuff. So before we get into that, if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you learn how to become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, last but not least, I'll try to leave these disclaimers at the beginning of this video. This is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy or sell any cryptocurrency based on the information I say in this live stream, or if you're watching this in the replay, whatever. All right, there's lots of scammers down below impersonating me in the comment section. Just ignore them. I'll never give you my phone number or ask you to invest with me. So we got lots of people jumping in the chat here. Got Nardia, Culture Hives, Gilsuck, Sam, Andrew, Narseco. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's talk about the supply crisis for ETH that's coming up down the road. And if you've been watching these live streams, you probably understand a little bit about what I'm talking about already. But I wanted to frame it in these terms because, this is great news. Honestly, it's a crisis, but it's good news if you hold ETH now. It's bad news if you don't hold it yet and are going to, want to hold it later and don't have any yet. So as always, like I said, not financial advice, but let me just explain what I mean by this. So the reason I bring this up is I saw a report come out today about ETH's potentially theoretical peak in its supply down the road and what this is going to mean for the Ether price long term, what it can mean. So let me explain this. We talked a lot on this channel on these live streams about the big change that's happening to the Ethereum network in July of this year, EIP 1559, where Ethereum will start, the Ether, the asset that powers the Ethereum network, will start being burned, all right, whenever new ETH transactions are sent, or part of the ETH transaction fees when it's sent. I know it's a lot, but let me just quickly explain that. Ethereum is a blockchain, it's a network, it has underlying fundamentals, and sometimes these fundamentals change because, Ethereum is in development right now, on its way to Ethereum 2.0, okay? And one of the big changes that's coming up is basically how ETH fee structures work. So whenever you do anything on the Ethereum network, you pay a gas fee. And right now, that gas fee is going to the miners. And after this big change is coming up, basically part of that fee is going to get burnt, all right? So we're getting some clarity on when this is going to happen. And, this is going to change how the Ethereum economics actually work, like the tokenomics, the cryptocurrency economics. It's a supply and demand type thing. When people want to buy ETH and the amount of ETH changes based on different factors, then that's going to affect the price of ETH. So, people criticize on ETH a lot for being, having an infinite supply on this kind of stuff. If you watch this channel, I've explained this lots of times. It has a theoretically infinite supply as it exists today. But, it doesn't mean that it can just be printed willy-nilly. People try to compare it to a central bank or something like that, where people can just decide to print as much ETH as they want to, whenever they want to. That's not true. And today we're going to talk about how Ethereum could have a theoretical peak in its supply, and that's really key. So that's what I want to change gears over to and show you right now, okay? So I'm going to pull up this report here. So this actually came out, let's see here, my camera's broken. Let me just fix that. Everybody give me 1 second here. A little technical difficulties with the live stream. So I'll switch over to my webcam, turn my actual camera on here. Thanks for being patient with me, everybody. All right, perfect. So this report came out a couple hours ago from Justin Drake, who's an Ethereum 2.0 researcher. Okay, so he was really deep onto this problem, and I want to talk about how he's talking about a potential peak supply cap for Ether. So everybody talks about Bitcoin being sound money. Bitcoin has a finite supply. That's what makes it a store of value, institutional grade, all that kind of stuff, right? But what we're seeing here with some of this data is that theoretically ETH could have a peak supply and actually become deflationary there based on a set of factors that would be affected by this changes coming up down the road. But he's actually calculating here what a theoretical peak for the ETH supply could be. So you see here this chart, Bitcoin has a capped supply, 21 million Bitcoin. Everybody talks about it's great for Bitcoin. But ETH could potentially have a peak, all right, of 120 million and actually start decreasing from there based on this change. Okay, so we actually see some data here and how we arrived at those figures. So Let me just see if I can zoom in here. I think you can see it very well on my screen. Let's see if I can just do this. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about some timelines here. So basically, we have some ranges on this graph saying, because we don't exactly know when all this stuff is for sure going to happen. We don't know exactly how the economics of the network are going to be affected. We don't know how many transactions are going to get sent around and how exactly that's going to offset the proof of stake issuance whenever EIP 1559 goes live or whenever we move to proof of stake. So we have a range here. It's like, here's the low expected value. Here's the best guess. Here's the lean conservative guess, and here's the conservative guess. So EIP 1559 is the big change we're talking about. That's slated for 14th of July, 2021, best guess. More conservative than that, maybe it's 31st of July, maybe even more conservative than that, it's the 14th of August. So the merge is talking about the merge date for proof of stake back into ETH1. So that's, December 1st of this year. So hopefully in 2021, like we've been talking about on this channel, maybe if it's later than that, maybe February 2022, maybe even later than that, March 2022. Anyways, go down the list here. But what he does is he does the math here and talks about how much new ETH is going to get created in proof of stake. Okay. The best guess is maybe 13,500 ETH per day. Maybe it's a little more than that. Maybe it's a little more than that by these other estimates. Then basically the daily proof of work issuance as it is now, or when we go to 1559 before the merge. Okay, these numbers and the daily average fee burn based on, the current network activity, what we expect to be in the future, and how many fees can get burnt and how this can actually offset the actual issuance. Okay, so then we do the calculations when EIP 1559 is activated, all right, with supply merge, and then you actually see the deficit here. Okay, so here's basically, here's basically where you start to see the deficit kick in. And so that's how you arrive at this number of about 120 million ETH as a theoretical max supply, all right, and then sort of going down from there. Once EIP 1559 is activated and we start to see ETH become deflationary. So this is a really crazy thing. Like I said, you have to understand this before it happens. So if you hold Ether, now this is good news. If you're trying to get into Ether later, it's bad news. Because what happens with basic supply and demand economics, when people want something and now there's less of it, well, that means the price is likely to go up. So, that's basically how it will likely have an impact on the price of Ether. So that being said, of course, there's a range of the numbers here. There could be some factors here that don't quite make this play out exactly like it is. We're not talking about this as prophecy, right? This is a projection of what's possible. Okay. So as like I said, it's not financial advice. This is not necessarily exactly what's going to happen down to the T, but this is an interesting kind of high level perspective. Is if we see a max supply here and starts decreasing in issuance over time, then that's a huge deal for the actual asset itself. And this is something that's really important to understand from a technical perspective, because the technical details actually affect, the price of the cryptocurrencies themselves, or can at least. So if you got a question here in the chat. Yeah, ETH going to proof of stake would be good. Why is market cap important? Yeah, we can talk about that here in a second. I'll put that on my list of questions to answer. Why is market cap important? We talked about that in the last stream, but it's a question people have a lot. So I will refresh it here in a minute. So we have a timeline, like I said, for EIP 1559. People ask about this a lot. I saw another tweet recently, I think it was on Friday, talking about this. Some timelines for EIP 1559 to come out across change. Of course, will be a client freeze in May, release in June. The test nets will go live, and the actual mainnet fork happening on July 14th. So this is a proposed date. Sometimes these things change, but that's what you can put on your calendar and look out for. At least that's what I'm going to start looking out for. So another crazy thing that's happened in the past couple days is we've seen the gas fees on Ethereum actually go down quite a bit. So there's lots of factors here. We've seen some, changes in how the clients work. We've seen the flash bots get implemented. We've seen, some of the high activity on the network get offloaded, maybe some other chains. Lots of things that could, kind of get aggregate together to achieve this result. But the gas prices on ETH have gone down quite a bit. And we can actually see what they currently are. You can look at like ETH gas station This is a pretty good website to use if you're trying to see what gas prices are on Ethereum currently. It's one I use a lot. So you can see here 65 Gwei, 56 Gwei, 50 standard. So really quick, kind of piece of education for people who haven't used the Ethereum network. What is gas? Why do we use it in the first place? Well, gas, like I said before, is a amount that you pay in Ethereum cryptocurrency or Ether. That's what the cryptocurrency actually calls Ether. Ethereum is a network. Ether is a cryptocurrency. And gas is what you pay anytime you want to create a transaction. So if you send ETH from my account, if I send an ETH from my account to yours, I pay, so I say I send you 1 ETH. Well, I send you 1 ETH plus I pay a small fee to do that. And that gas fee is determined by, that gas fee basically goes to miners. And so the gas fees are basically, works like an auction. So there's supply and demand. So gas has price. Okay, think about like filling up gas with your car. You measure gas in gallons, but the gas price is always changing. And you can see, based on supply and demand, and you can see those prices here. And this is part of what's going to get affected. This is what people complain about all the time. People say the Ethereum network, the gas fees are too high, gas is too expensive. Well, part of that's because of supply and demand economics. Whenever more people want to use the Ethereum network, it makes these prices that you're looking at right here go up quite a bit. And so this is what ends up getting affected. All right. And these are the things that will be greatly improved by layer 2 scaling solutions that are coming out in full force this year, okay? Especially in the coming months. They're already here now. They're just not really evenly distributed. But these are the types of things that will get improved a lot and won't be as affected by this quite as much. So sometimes people ask me, like, why do you have to pay gas on a blockchain in the first place? Like, why does that even make sense? Well, gas is there to prevent spam on the network. So one of the reasons that, finance-related use cases have really taken off with blockchain technology and not other use cases is because finance is a pay-to-play system and blockchain is a pay-to-play system. So it makes sense. I mean, anytime you spend money in the real world, you usually pay some sort of transaction fee at a merchant or something like that. And so with blockchain, the gas fees are to prevent spam. So anytime you want to, add something new to the chain, you don't want somebody to sit there and spam the chain, so you make them pay for it. And then there's this other reward on the other side for miners or stake or validators, whoever it is, who runs the blockchain, to be financially incentivized to, run the chain and get part of your fee that you're doing that with. Part of your fee that you're spending to make that transaction. Because if it wasn't there, you could sit there and just spam the chain all day, and that wouldn't make for a very good blockchain or a public network, right? So somebody asked me a minute ago in the chat, like, why is market cap so important? So I talked about this in the stream the other day, but I'll go ahead and reiterate it, just because it's a pretty common misunderstanding by a lot of people. So about what market cap is and how it's affected by the price and all that kind of stuff. It's some different metrics you can look at with market cap. So if you go here, you can see like Bitcoin, here's the current price. This is the unit price. That means how much does one coin cost, okay? And then you'll see the volume and then the market cap. So this is about $1 trillion, a little more. So the market cap is really just the price of the cryptocurrency, so $53,000, multiplied by the total supply or the circulating supply, which is this 18,691,906. So you multiply the price by the circulating supply, and that's the current market cap, okay? So why is this important? Well, large market cap cryptocurrencies like this, there's a lot of people holding it, or at least a lot of money in it, right? And so it's harder to move the price of larger market cap cryptocurrencies compared to smaller cap cryptocurrencies. So that's why a lot of people like altcoins. They like smaller cap coins because they can go up in price a lot faster. Now, that's a double-edged sword for sure, because what can go up in price really fast can also go down in price really fast. So you see things that are like, in the 10 million market cap range can go up like insanely fast, because think about it. If somebody buys, $10 million worth of it, that can really make the price go up like an insane amount. Okay, now that being said, a $10 million market cap cryptocurrency doesn't always have the best liquidity, and it's not that easy always to just buy that much without a ton of slippage. But that's the whole point. That's how market cap really affects things. Now you can look at other metrics like fully diluted market cap versus circulating supply. basically fully diluted market cap. So you see fully diluted valuation. This is basically how much Bitcoin would be worth if all the Bitcoins were mined right now. So the reason we haven't reached the maximum supply is because Bitcoin is like new Bitcoins are still getting created until a theoretical max date. I can't always remember what it is. It's like 2140 or something like that. You can go Google it to get the exact number. But basically, Bitcoin's at a diminishing supply issuance schedule that keeps having every 4 years until we reach that theoretical maximum date, which we'll effectively reach it before then. But that's the whole idea. And yeah, the fully diluted valuation is how much it would be if all the coins were mined now. So fully diluted valuation, some people say they don't care about it in bull markets, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes it just depends on how quickly the coins can be diluted and what factors are in play. Because if a team can basically just like release all the tokens from a smart contract, at whim, then that really is insanely important for fully diluted valuation. But if something like, Bitcoin, it has a really predictable issuance schedule and there's nothing that can really just, change the dynamics of how Bitcoin is issued over these next, 100 years or so, the fully diluted valuation matters way less, especially because it's such a large market cap cryptocurrency. But if you had a smaller cap coin that was like, I don't know, like $100 million and only 20% of the coins were currently issued, and there was no really hard, fast set rules on when the remaining 80% could be issued, fully diluted valuation would matter quite a bit. Or if you knew that the other 80% would be issued like in a matter of weeks, that would also be bad. So that's why market cap matters. Those are different metrics you can look at, fully diluted valuation, all that kind of stuff based on the number of coins in supply. Again, you can calculate market cap like this. Basically, you take all the coins, you take the current price, multiply by all the coins in existence. So you could literally just reproduce Bitcoin's market cap like this. You basically just say 53,642 times, let's see here, 18,691, 906, and then boom. That's about the number that you see here, okay? It's a little bit off because I didn't use the decimals, but yeah, you could basically reproduce that with a calculator just to check your work. That's what market cap is. That's how you measure it. That's why it matters. Let's see here. I had another thing on my screen come up. Hold on. So I also wanted to check on this thread here that I saw from Raoul Pal over the weekend. We talked about him a lot on this channel. I've kind of broken down his really famous $20,000 Ether price prediction for this cycle. Okay, assuming that we're in cycles. He definitely thinks we are. He thinks we're in a boom and bust cycle from everything I can tell. But I'll check out this tweet thread here. Let's see here. So he's saying Bitcoin is nearly as oversold as it was in March of 2020. Okay. The weekly RSI is close to the levels that we saw in corrections in the first part of the 2017 bull run before Bitcoin hit hyperspace. Okay. These are the pauses that refresh the bull market. Okay, we talk about that a lot in this channel. Remember, we look at the on-chain metrics, what happens like whenever our Nupal metric gets reset. What gives us more headroom, it gives us room to breathe so that we can actually potentially run higher. He's saying ETH might have a tad further to go, either in time or price. He says we're closer to the end of this move than the beginning. You should be adding your choice tokens to this, but he does say this looks pretty cool. Okay, so the ETH BTC cross is likely to correct a bit first before breaking out, but it's a spectacular base pattern. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the prices. Let's look at some on-chain metrics and kind of take a look here. So what he's saying is basically he's saying that his assumptions here are that we are in a run. We're in another sort of boom and bust cycle likely. I don't know that he's weighing in on how bad the bust is going to be, but basically, he's not saying that we're like at the end of this or anything. What he's saying is we have less time to go than we've experienced now. So let's assume that we've been in it for, let's just call March 2020 the start of it. You know, we've been in it a year and 1 month at this point, so that means we have less than a year and 1 month to go by his, you know, assumptions here. And there's some things you want to look out for. That, you know, last time we saw the parabolic blow off top happen, assuming that we're not there yet, that the parabola could get pretty crazy from here. Okay, so let's look at some of these prices and metrics. We'll start off just with the prices themselves. I'll pull it up. So we kind of looked at the Bitcoin price a minute ago as we were inspecting things. But let's look at the ETH price for sure. So ETH is, you know, going back up to the $2,500 level. I'd love to see this, you know, kind of break a new all-time high here. What I want to look at is the ETH BTC ratio, because we talked about that before. And we talked in the video at the end of last week, you know, how ETH could potentially flip Bitcoin. I don't necessarily know that it would this cycle or anything like that. It could, you know, stranger things have happened in crypto. And if it did, maybe it would be a temporary flip. I don't know that it would just like permanently replace it. But let's actually look at the ETH BTC ratio. This is the ratio of the Bitcoin price and the Ethereum price, or the ETH price to Bitcoin price, or the other way around. But this kind of shows you, you know, how the Ethereum price is appreciated compared to the Bitcoin price. So you could look at, you know, ETH to USD. So ETH to USD is essentially what you're looking at here. You're looking at the Ethereum price compared to the US dollar. That's, you arrive at the price. So you just divide, you know, how many dollars does it take to make an ETH? It takes $2,495 to make an ETH. So how many Bitcoin does it take to make an ETH? 0.04 Bitcoin it takes to make an ETH. So that's how you think about it. So this number will go up, up, and up, and up. And like I said, like what Raoul was saying here a minute ago, we've seen he's kind of drawn some TA for this. You can see this line here kind of breaking above this resistance. It can be pretty crazy. Okay. So one thing I like about Raoul, I talked about this in the channel too. You know, he really caught my attention because he was very, very right when he was kind of calling the bottom of the last cycle and really the breakout for this cycle. Okay. So he's got a really great background for sure. A lot of impressive credentials, but the most impressive thing are the accuracy of the calls so far. And so this is a guy I definitely want to pay attention to, at least I do. So we can also look at the ratio calculator. So if you look at ratiogang.com, this will tell you, you know, it'll track ETH's progress to a flippening. So if ETH were to ever flip Bitcoin, this is sort of the progress meter. You know, they kind of put some metrics on the chart that say, we believe the ratio should be here. It's currently here, but if it gets to this, then this is when it would flip Bitcoin. So right now, the ETH to BTC ratio would have to be 0.16. Or going back to ask that question a minute ago, how many Bitcoin does it take to make an Ether? So 0.16165 Bitcoin it would take to make an Ether at these price levels in order to see it flip in terms of market cap. Because that's what I was saying a minute ago. People ask, why is market cap so important? Well, that's another reason you think about market cap. I mean, that's how we sort coins here on this list. So you see these coins sorted by market cap. When I say ETH flipping Bitcoin, I mean ETH's market cap becoming larger than Bitcoin's. And another way you can think about market cap is how much are all of the coins worth. So that means all the ETH coins right now would be worth more than all the Bitcoins right now. So that's what that means. That's also based on circulating supply, not fully diluted valuation, which you talked about a minute ago. So how many coins currently in existence, that's how they're sorted right now, is based on circulating supply, the market cap based on circulating supply. So that's very bullish. Okay, so you know he's thinking that we're basically over halfway done with this run, but you know that the crazy stuff starts happening in the second part of the run, and that, you know, just extrapolating from his previous statements. He didn't say this in the tweet thread, but just extrapolating from his previous statements and kind of what he's saying here is that the real crazy stuff is likely ahead, which is really great news if you've been around for a while already, because, you know, it's already been pretty crazy, which means it can get even crazier than this. So let's see here. We got some questions in the chat here. Somebody said, do you think Ethereum killers like ASL, etc., have a competitive edge in the Ethereum? So on Ethereum, the short to midterm. Sorry, the chat keeps moving as I'm trying to read this. So I mean, in terms of price, who knows what's going to happen with the price? Because crypto runs on, especially in these bull markets, it runs a lot on sentiment, a lot on emotions, a lot on marketing hype, narratives, all that kind of stuff. So some of these ETH killers have they're really strong in those areas, then sure, the price could go up compared to ETH price. But from technical fundamentals and adoption, all that kind of stuff, I still think that Ethereum has a massive, massive, massive lead for all the reasons I talked about in these live streams and these videos. I'll refresh some of my thoughts there in case you're brand new, watching for the first time, or maybe you're a new viewer. It's basically, Ethereum derives a lot of its value from its network effects, okay? So you can think about different blockchains being competitive for different reasons. Let's say one has a better technology than the other, right? Or one has a better network effect. So more users, more apps built on top of it, more reasons for a user to actually use that blockchain compared to something else. That's the whole reason. That's the whole point here. If you're or a reason that someone would want to build an app on one or the other, and they're linked. So if you're going to go look at a blockchain and you say, which one do I want to use? One where all the apps are, or one that, might have a marginal technical advantage? Well, you're probably going to use the one where all the apps are, because think about network effect like a social network. If you wanted to go use a Facebook clone that had no friends, you want to use it. You know what I mean? So same is true for a blockchain. You wouldn't use a blockchain that had no coins, that had no apps, that had nothing like that. Now, a lot of these other chains they have them now. Okay, they're building toward them, but the gap is huge for what Ethereum has, because it's been around for so long. They've had so much time to develop sophisticated programming languages, developer tools, developer community that you need to build the apps in the first place, best practices. We bumped into a lot of walls. DeFi was born on top of ETH. And so you're going to get into all these debates that are part of the marketing hype of like, second mover advantage, MySpace versus Facebook, Netscape versus, Internet Explorer, all this kind of stuff. But there's so many flaws in all these assumptions, because you're not talking about something as simple as just building a new web application. You're talking about putting a rocket on the moon. Nobody's put a rocket on the moon yet. ETH is the closest one to actually putting the rocket on the moon. And so if you're here on Earth in the lab still trying to build the rocket, and you've got a rocket ship that's like, I don't know, like 100,000 miles or however far it is from like really close to the moon, what you're saying is like, I'm going to get my ship out of the lab and get there faster than you. Because what these ETH killers are trying to do is build a technology that's marginally superior to ETH 2.0, or even just do something that's close to what ETH 2.0 is, but they say they're going to do it faster, you know what I mean? Like, or achieve that goal faster. But even if you did achieve that goal somewhat faster than ETH did, you'd still have this massive gap of trying to catch up with ETH's network effects, get developers to build on top of it, get all the users to compete with it. I'm not saying it can't happen. It's just a very, very large problem to solve. It's not just a technical problem. It's much more than that. So I hope that makes sense. Got any more questions in the chat here? All right. So someone wants to look at the Nupal chart. Let's do that real quick. So let's look at some on-chain metrics here. Check how we're doing with the Bitcoin price. Kind of see what the market's doing. So, of course, the Nupal chart's a net unrealized profit loss. Kind of getting a sense of where we are in the market in terms of euphoria. Okay, I'll go ahead and pull this up on my screen here. So yeah, we've dropped quite a bit in Nupal terms, which is awesome. That's really bullish for the long-term health of the cryptocurrency markets. If Bitcoin's a pretty good indicator of, our headroom for this run, then we've seen prices come down in Nupal terms quite a bit. So we're at 0.60 at 49, at basically $50,000. So right here we were at, 0.6. Let's just see. The last time we were at 0.6. So we were at 0.6 the last time at about $19,000 or $20,000. Okay, we haven't been back at 0.6 in a long time. So basically we haven't been back to 0.6 since about December. Okay. So that's really good news. That's really, really good news. So we basically reset our headroom back to December. That's awesome. So it sucks people who lost money in some of these dumps and corrections. But if our run is going to continue, if we assume that that's true, and we have so much more headroom, because think about it, we blasted off here from December, until we hit this euphoria phase. Like, you kissed euphoric territory by the end of, towards the end of February. Okay, so in 2 months we easily rocketed up to here with one big cool off. We almost rocketed up there in a matter of 2-3 weeks. So we could see that. We could see Bitcoin be here and then blast off to euphoric territory in 2-3 weeks. It could happen. But to me, this is bullish that we have more headroom on the Nupal chart, even though the price is kind of come down. We could, because we went from 20K up to 40K, we doubled in price and didn't hit euphoria. And then we almost tripled in price here and didn't hit euphoria just yet. So that means the Bitcoin could theoretically do something very similar and not hit euphoric territory. So that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so more people learn about blockchain. If you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, get your hands dirty today. How can you get started now? After watching this video, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find any of my free courses there, Udemy courses, but they're totally free. If you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcode entirely, actually become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. Okay, you don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. All right, so that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.